forgetting what lies behind, I press onward. And so with whatever dreams might have got squashed, whatever you might have done wrong, today's the day.
That's good.
Yeah, today's the day to press onward and start anew. It doesn't matter whether you're 20, 30, or 80 or 90. Today's the day something amazing can happen.
Welcome to the Up Your Average podcast, where Keith and Doug give no-nonsense advice to level up your life. So buckle up and listen closely to Up Your Average.
Doug, good morning.
Word up.
It's a great day to be alive.
I wonder if anybody says word up anymore besides me.
I never said I don't even know what it means, so I just smile and act like I do. What would you say if I asked you the question, what is the American dream?
Well, I think the American dream is being free to do what you're inspired or what you want to do.
This is what it is to you.
You're asking what I think the American dream is, and I think that's what it would boil down to for anybody who dreams.
Yeah, you hear people talking about it, like you hear all different kinds of things about what is the American dream. And I think this whole conversation was just sparked by how fun it was to have Matt join us a week ago, right?
Yeah.
Like a little kid the picture on his book was a little kid laying on the grass dreaming.
Right.
And many years later, he's flying arguably one of the coolest airplanes ever.
No doubt about it.
And one of the coolest uniforms ever. Like it was a flashback. That conversation was a flashback to me as younger days. And I thought of having a guest join us today, but she must have been too busy. But some people would say the American dream is getting a house, right? So my daughter,
That's been marketed as
my daughter Casey and Kevin today, they're moving into their house. And I thought if she had time, she'd come talk to us about what that meant to her and the enthusiasm of having that house. Like I've been watching it build up with them, and it's a lot of fun having a house.
Oh, goodness. It was a dream of mine.
Yeah. Yeah. And so when I was thinking about our conversation today, I'd ask you to think about past dreams at different ages you had. And I thought I would talk about not only dreams at ages, but dreams at different roles that we fill in life. And I broke those three roles down to a physical dream, a faith kind of dream, and a financial dream, because those have all been dreams of mine over time. And I don't have as many physical dreams that I like, man, if I could just get that, whatever that is, that's not so much, but I'm so excited about tomorrow. And I think dreams in my own life, and when I was thinking about this, were you old enough to get a Sears wish book?
No. I mean, I remember the Sears catalog.
Yeah, that's what it was called.
Okay.
The wish book.
Okay.
And as a kid,
they had a nice Christmas section, like toys and stuff in there.
Yeah, and then Christmas, man, that thing, it was about that thick, and it would come.
Yeah.
And everybody, like, they get their, I think they didn't use Sharpies. They used flares back then. They used circle stuff.
Yeah. My sisters and I would do that.
Yeah. So, like, as a little kid, that might have been my American dream. It's like, man, if I could it probably had to do with Hot Wheels for me. I don't know about you.
So if I could get some stuff, that was the dream.
You know what's weird about it for me, and I realized this as a young adult, is I was almost always disappointed Christmas Day because I didn't get as much as what was in the wish book that I hoped I would. Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
And I think that affected me. I just don't need more stuff today as an adult. I found that whatever cool stuff mom and dad got me, it didn't continue.
Gotcha.
Right?
Yeah. Gotcha.
Yeah. I had to be a punk to them. Like they had to. It was like, he's not very excited.
These homemade toys we made for Keith, he's not excited.
Well, I was the youngest grandchild, so I was always getting other people's stuff rewrapped. Like
a toaster.
All my cars and their cars are all beat up because my cousin or brother beat them up.
That's good.
Yeah, funny stuff. So when you think about dreams by age, do you have any dreams that come to mind to you? Like how far back do you remember having something that really stoked your soul?
Yeah, as a boy, and my friend Gabe Green could attest to this, we would set up our Hot Wheel cars and we'd set them up in dealerships. And we would wash our Hot Wheel cars and wax them and line them in straight lines. And it seemed like every day. I don't know if it was or not, but we would line these cars up, and then Gabe and I would do dealer trades back and forth with each other. And in those trading days of cars, this car, the Porsche 911, was always a dream. And um, I love, I have a romantic worldview. And so it's not really the car. I wouldn't have been able to tell you that until probably recently. I always thought it was the car, but really what it is it's the spirit of adventure, great engineering, and quality craftsmanship that goes fast. That really intrigued me. That was the dream. I couldn't explain it like that. I would just say it's a Porsche 911 is the dream. But no, that's not it. It's all of those things that you can do inside of something like this. And that attitude is still alive and really healthy today.
You know, like I don't, I didn't really ever aspire to something like a car. I don't think I can't remember anything that if I could just have that, it would really. But that same idea was prevalent in me, and I recall probably learning from cleaning up my uncles and my grandmother's estate, things like that. During the Depression era, people they couldn't aspire to a Porsche or something, so they collected little things, odds and ends, and they collected coins and stamps were what they collected. They would steam them off of something, but that would consume their time and their imagination and give them something to build that camaraderie. And so they got me a penny book. They were like little blue foldable books that you would put the penny in that you had and collect, a 1957S or 57D or whatever.
Man, what an appropriate thing to talk about this week. Didn't they do away with the penny
It did.
this
I
week?
meant to bring that in. Yeah, the penny is no more, no mas. Yeah. So when I was filling it, and it would tell you supply and demand on
Mm,
there. So like
nice.
it'd tell you
Yeah.
how many of that coin was minted, and as I would look at it, the very top left corner, there was one called the 1909 SVDB.
That
Was
was the
that
top dog.
that coin? I don't remember how many were minted. It wasn't many, and I just knew there's no way on the planet Earth I'm ever filling that spot on
Yeah.
that thing because those things are expensive.
Right.
And as I accumulated some financial success in life, I bought each of the kids
Mhm.
one of those for an emergency fund, and they wouldn't appreciate it as much as me, but it
Yeah.
was, oh, I've arrived. I can fill that top corner.
How cool is that?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was a lot
Yeah.
of fun, and so there's just all kinds of things that can stir our soul. And I was curious what you thought about two words, like how you mesh those two words together. So you've got dreams, which the wish book is a form of dream, but and we're not talking about I woke up this morning, had a dream last night. We're talking about what you see for your future kind of dreams. And so you got dreams over here, and then you've got passion. How do you envision those two words mixing together?
Well, I think it starts with someone else paving the way for you. And so when you can see someone who is doing something big, bigger than normal, or maybe they have the Porsche, or maybe they have the penny, and you can see that, okay, it's possible to have something like this. You can start thinking about it, and if it stirs your soul and it's something unique about yourself, then that's where the passion starts happening, and you'd be willing to suffer in order to go for that dream. I think passion and suffering go really well together because it's blood, sweat, and tears to get to your dream. Like our friend told us last week, he said, "Don't give up."
Yeah. And man, I thought a lot about some of the words that Matt talked about. And he got a little teary eyed when he was talking about believers cheering you on, because if you're going to jump out there and take a risk and go do something that is a dream, I mean, if it's a dream, you could fail at it. It could just be a flop.
Oh, you're going to.
Yeah, and
Yeah, that's about if you have a dream, you're going to fail at it.
yeah, and so there's all kinds of people that are
And then
gonna
you're going to
go,
get there.
"Yeah, I told you so. I knew you wouldn't do it," right?
Yeah.
And, like, who can believe you can get over that hurdle? And those are few and far between, and for me, like, starting a business was never a dream. Like, it just happened,
Yeah.
and then all the blood, sweat, and tears to get it going, and I'm not personality-wise one that complains about things, so I don't even talk about all that stuff. That was just
Mhm.
part of the fuel that I had to learn to navigate through. But having something, even if it wasn't a dream that you accomplished, does something to your soul that very few other things do.
Yeah. It's funny. Um, Being a part of a small business was a dream for me.
That's really cool.
And it's because of my grandparents, my dad, my uncles. They had small businesses, and I could see myself in a small business. I didn't really know what that meant. I knew I didn't want to be in a big business, and I knew I didn't want to be solo. But a small business was a dream.
I discovered it's where I needed to be because I worked in large businesses and realized that those kind of squashed my personality and creativity. And so it was kind of forcing me away from the norm, right? Like I
Mhm.
had to figure out something else. And that's a battle. That's a battle when you're chasing things like that.
When you ride in the car, like in the '80s with your mom and dad, and you're driving down to Indianapolis, you don't have a phone or a Nintendo to distract you. And so I remember dreaming a lot, just looking out the window, driving up and down I-69 or Highway 32. And I told you earlier this week that there are these buildings that are still there at the south um, edge of 465 and I-69. There's two or three of them. I can't remember.
Right. My Heritage Christian School
Yeah,
there.
yeah, and I can remember these dreams where I'm looking at those buildings and thinking, "What do people do in there?" Are they making anything? They're not making anything that I know of. And so what's going on in there? And I would dream and I'd wonder what that would be like to work in a big office complex like that. And now I know. Now I know what they do in there. It's just they're handling relationships. And so I think if your dream, if your wonder, if your curiosity is tied to some type of relationship connection, um, that's where action can start.
Mm. I heard a quote many years ago that made a ton of sense to me, and I see it to be true in my own life, and that it was that the highest positions are reserved for those who prepare in secret. And that secret time is usually what people would call boredom, right? Like if you don't have downtime to do these things that
Yeah.
require preparation. And I was wondering, like, what your thoughts are between um, like the enemy of dreams and passion being something like screens. How does that detract from that boredom time or that time while you're driving on the road and staring at that building and wondering, can you see how that probably disrupts a lot of people's dreaming, maybe?
Yeah, and last week, I shared with you, Keith, that I took some time inspired by our friend Matt and his book cover. I literally stared up at clouds for like a half hour, just looking at the clouds
I love it.
and thinking, "Okay, I'm 50. What do dreams look like today?" And they are completely different today. It's not the material thing anymore. It's more or less the wonder of life. Like, what's Keith's life going to be like in 20 years? I wonder about that. I stare up at the clouds and wonder that about your life. I wonder that about my kids' lives or my wife. She's school teacher. What could be her next level dream? Is she living it? And the only way to know is, are you living your dream? To ask the question and then ask myself, okay, if I were to recreate a bucket list, did you ever have a bucket
I
list?
did, and I'm such a goal-driven person that gets kind of monotonous because I just check them off, right? And I realized I had to have something bigger than a bucket list.
Yeah, and I'm not really a goal-driven person, I've never been one, but what I've noticed and I have a bucket list, I should have brought it in. they're all checked off.
Right. That's where I got to.
And it's not like I had really the ambition to check them off. They got checked off just by living life, staying curious and going for it.
Boy, curiosity is such an undervalued component of life that I don't know. I know when the kids go to school, they're taught reading, writing, and arithmetic, but almost you need some coaching to keep that muscle of curiosity going, it seems like.
Yeah. And I keep going back to this Porsche, but my dad had one.
Dude.
Yeah. He had a 911, and there's this picture that I love of my parents in my childhood home, and it's the back end of a 911 parked right next to a 914. And if you know Porsches, those are two Porsches. My mom and dad both had them in Muncie. And now this was before my dad went all Dave Ramsey, but love you, Dad. But just to see that it was possible and to see what it could look like, that's the part where I think we can really help each other with curiosity, is to know that you can do it.
There are so many things I think that attack our creativeness, our passion, our dreams, curiosity in life. And I think you almost have to like decide to protect that component of your life. And like our industry, Dave Ramsey or things like that is constantly telling everybody to be practical.
Yeah.
And practically, every one of us are going to die. Practically, but practically, not every one of us is going to live.
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah.
I don't know how to encourage people that way, but I thought that's what this conversation would do: help those that are thinking about the future, no matter whether you're a 10-year-old, a 30-year-old, or a 70-year-old. That there are dreams and things that can happen out there. I broke it down to those by role. So, like your body has these dreams that it wants to accomplish, and then by soul or faith, and what are the inner things that stir me that I would love to see, and then even financial things. I kind of envision the financial things or the material things as a backpack that this body is hauling around because for some reason, I start putting stuff in there, and I think a lot of times fear is why you put more in there, right?
That's exactly what I was thinking of is how to live your dream. Think about what you're afraid of, and then just go do it right now.
Right. Because I haven't found too many people that haven't had the temptation to be afraid of running out of money. Like a lot of
Right.
times over all the years, that's a common question. And it could happen. I mean, it happened to probably millions of people in the 1930s in America. And I'm not saying that I'm forecasting, I'm just saying historically, you live in a most safe, prosperous time and place ever. Today's the day to fulfill those dreams. And so when I was tying these things together and thinking about them, I was over here rocking out all ago, and I got caught listening to some music. But when I was thinking about the physical one, like a song that just stirs my soul is "Put Me in, Coach."
Okay.
I play it. I'm just ready to go to anything. Just
Yeah.
put me. I'm sitting on the bench. I'm ready to rock and roll, and I can envision a day where maybe this body isn't going to cooperate with me, and so what am I going to do that you can put me in? And I can't remember. I'm going to say it was a friend of Bob Warren's, but I bet it was. And he would go to visit this guy. I don't know if he's in the hospital or where he was, and he couldn't really do anything. And in the olden days, they had these things called adding machines where you punch the number in and pull a little lever, and the paper would come up. And instead of you just do that. And the paper, well, you might see it at a cash register. It would come in rolls about that big around, and and then they would just, once all the receipts or things, they'd put a new one in there. Well, this fellow was laying in his hospital bed, and he pulled out. I think it was Bob was having this conversation when he pulls this thing out, and it was a prayer list of people he was praying for. And he couldn't do much more, but he would daily have the enthusiasm to go through the list of his friends and family and just constantly pray for them. And I was like, how great of a dream is that, to have the time to just concern yourself with the needs of others when you would think most people would be just worried about themselves, but he is just immersing himself with your needs.
Well, you're one of your close connections to you is helping a guy who wrote a song called Dreams. And me being an 80s child, I love Van Halen. And Sammy Hagar sang a song called Dreams. And the lyrics, if you check them out, they really don't make a whole lot of sense about dreams. But the one thing that it does tie in at the end, the chorus is always, that's what dreams are made of. But at the end, he says, and that's what love is. And I think the best type of dream is a form of love, and it's normally for someone else's benefit because you're going to have to be patient with it. You're going to have to be slow to anger with it. You're going to have to be kind. You're going to have to be gentle. You're going to have some courage, and through love, you can make some dreams happen.
Man, that when I was thinking about the role of my soul or faith in the dreams of that, and I was trying to tie a song to it, I was like, "Oh, brother!" And it kind of goes along with what you're saying. The song that came to mind was "Cats in the Cradle," and it's not a
Oh
very
man,
uplifting song.
that's a rough one.
Yeah, it's not uplifting, but it just reminds, like for me, it
Yeah,
just reminds me that
yeah.
I need to focus my soul on what matters and not all the distractions.
Or the regrets.
Yeah,
The-
I don't live with regrets
yeah,
because of that, and that
yeah.
song is like suicidal as it might feel. I
I mean,
just
we
can't
all
be
we
motivated.
we all get that song,
Yeah,
and and it is a powerful song.
yeah,
And we get it.
yeah,
But man, oh gosh, if you're listening, and you have some of those regrets, maybe you were the guy
yeah.
on the plane all the time. I want to encourage you. Today is your day, and all those experiences you have in your past can be shared with somebody else, and not to sweat that stuff.
I listened to I'm really curious about Scott Adams and his way of thinking, and so I listen to his podcast, and he frames and thinks about things differently than I do. And one of the things he talks about is reframing your brain, and so you can take events and reframe them. And one of his reframes on that was the history doesn't exist. You know, like even yesterday, what you and I perceived is not the same, even if we're in the same room. And so whatever history is just your perception. And what his point was is forget about the history. But what I like is the Apostle Paul. The Apostle Paul voted to assassinate Stephen. And one of his quotes was, "Forgetting what lies behind, I press onward towards the upward calling, which is in Christ." And so,
So when Paul was like not the same dude that we know him as,
right.
he was somebody else.
Right,
Yeah.
and I assume that if he was, at the pub and the people are drinking a beer or something, and they go, "Hey, did you ever know Stephen?" Every time he would hear
Mm,
that, the temptation would be to have some regrets, but he was given that insight, "Forgetting what lies behind, I press onward." And so with whatever dreams might have got squashed, whatever you might have done wrong, today's the day. Like,
that's good.
yeah, today's the day to press onward and start anew. It doesn't matter whether you're 20, 30, or 80 or 90. Today's the day something amazing can happen. I then I put down for the kind of the financial thing was don't stop believing and just that idea that if you do have financial goals, and there's nothing wrong with that at all.
Right.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
when Connie and I were married, I was a driven, driven dude. And I think almost every day, I can't even tell you for how long, she would say when I got home, "Did you make your million today?"
Mhm.
And at some point she quit saying that. And I don't think either one of us know when I did it.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it just happened because I was chasing other dreams.
Yeah. Yeah. And some of those numbers are they are worth giving each other a high five on. If you hit that number that you're thinking, I finally made it, that is really cool. Um, what I found is when you start making some money or having some money, that's where the dreams start. It's like, well, maybe I could do this with it. The temptation is okay, now I need to double this.
Right.
That's always the number. Like when I ask somebody, hey, how much do you need? And we should all know, what do we need?
Yeah.
Or what do we want? And it's always double. So that's the temptation.
And I would even say with that the anxiety that the system puts on you about that is I just remind myself too when I was coming home every day and Connie was asking me if I made my million today. We were living in an apartment with nothing and we were living some of our best days. We didn't want for
Right.
anything. And so the perception that something down the road that Porsche is going to make me happy,
Right.
it's no more true when I don't have it, or after I've already had it, and the possibility is I might have to go back and live in that apartment. Like it's the same you. It's how you frame that situation. And I think the more you realize the stuff you put in that backpack, the more burdened you feel about tomorrow. The less stuff you have in that backpack, probably the less burdened you feel about tomorrow.
Yeah. Or the burden you have in caring for whatever that thing is in your backpack.
Yeah. Yeah. Man, it is a interesting journey to accumulate stuff. It's an interesting journey to accomplish things. And it's an interesting journey to kind of figure out what it is you dream about when you look to the future. And you asked me, I don't remember the exact question, something about ownership and Gimbal. Do you remember that question you asked me the last few months? You asked me, why do you own it? Or,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. And I don't think I took a second.
You didn't.
Yeah. Is that my dream for me is to be a world changer.
Yeah.
And in a business, I can change the world one person at a time. And that kind of hits all those things for me. It fills my soul that I can change the world. It fills my pocketbook if I'm doing it for profit.
Right.
And it gives me some accomplishments that are fun that I never even knew I would see. And
Yeah.
so my dreams kind of start at that soulish level, because I don't really know what I want tomorrow. And then all of a sudden I'll see, I need this done. And all of a sudden these circumstances are moving towards what I need done. And I'm able to think through it and connect those things. And they're usually unexplainable.
Yeah. Engineer minded folks, dream a little bit. Sales or musicians, people, start doing something.
Get up and go do it. Right? Yeah. The dreams you can't lay on the grass, but then you got to get up off the grass and go
Get
take
off
them.
your grass.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, no matter where you find yourself today in the age spectrum of things, we are for you. And if you're struggling to figure out a dream, call one of us. We'll help you think through that. And then if you're trying to connect any of those roles, whether it's your soul, your body, or even just the physical things, we can help you think through that as well. But we're just honored to hang out with you guys, and we trust that this week's going to be a great one for you. See you guys soon.